Hercules!
Oh, he's a little Hercules. Oh, Hercules, Hercules.
Let's find out if he's as bad as he seems in this installment of...
Is it worth it?
What's up, nerds? First things first, Hercules is a 4 energy, 6 power card that reads, the first time another card moves here each turn, move it to another location. So, quick overarching opinion on Hercules is,
Why?
I just don't get it. Maybe you get to make Vulture and Human Torch bigger than they would otherwise, but okay. The only other thing I'll mention is Kingpin is, I think, probably, according to the patch leaks, about to be changed to a 2/3 that afflicts stuff with -2 whenever something moves into their lane. So maybe Hercules is good with Kingpin? I don't know. Mechanics of Hercules. So first things up is, this is a little weird because when you read it, it seems like it moves any card that moves to his lane out of the lane, as long as it's the first time it's moved their return, sort of how you could interpret it, but really that means the first card that moves into his lane. Regardless of whether it's your opponent's or yours, the first card that gets moved there, you go ahead and bops that into another location. Which I guess I should have put the points here in different order because that works with point 3 here, that it works both ways. If your opponent is the first one to move something there, then that's the card that's going to get moved by Hercules. The second thing is it is random. Whenever something goes to its location, the other 2 locations, it's a coin flip on which location that card is going to end up at. Of course, unless it's like miniaturized lab or there's a Professor X or something that's restricting. But yeah, when something moves there, you don't really know where it's going to end up. And the last thing is Captain Marvel and Martyr. Now, I am 99% sure it's going to work this way, but Hercules reads each turn. So at the end of the game, when Martyr and Captain Marvel decide to move, if they move into Hercules' lane, I highly doubt that is going to move those cards back out of the lane because the game's over. It's not within a turn. So if they worded this card correctly and they coded it correctly, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, and Martyr will not be affected by Hercules whatsoever. All right, let's move on to what could be good about Hercules, if there is any. All right, the first point with the upsides of Hercules is the thing I mentioned earlier is the Kingpin change. Now, before the Kingpin change, I really was confused about Hercules. I was like, what purpose does this card serve whatsoever? But after the Kingpin change, that is the upside of the card because it's no longer the absolute worst card I've ever seen. Now it's maybe the worst card I've ever seen. As you can tell by my second point here, I'm struggling. I'm struggle bus on Hercules, because my second upside of Hercules is he's technically the only counter to Jeff. Yeah, that's a reach, Christina Ricci over here, but it's technically an upside. It's the only thing that stops Jeff. And the last upside of Hercules is move sucks.
It really sucks.
It needs all the help it can get. And yeah, I'm sure if you play Hercules and you have a Vulture and a Human Torch, they're gonna get super massive. But one big card in the entirety of your game isn't gonna win you the game. But Hercules will definitely help an archetype that has historically been bad. All right, onto the downsides of Hercules. What's bad about the card other than everything? All right, maybe I'm being a little harsh, but the first bad thing is for his ability and how like weird and niche it seems. Pretty low power, a 4/6 that does what he does. I mean, unless he's really getting a lot of benefit out of his ability, 6 power, really? What? Iron Lad is a 6 power card, and his ability is so much better. I don't understand why 6 power. I could see 7 or 8. I'd be like, yeah, maybe you could start thinking about this card being a bit better, but 6 power is... And the second downside of Hercules is, I've already expressed this multiple times, but what's the point? What is this card designed for? The only things that we've brought up so far are extremely narrow scenarios, like, oh, it's a counter to Vision and Jeff. That's not a thing. And the other one is you get a big Vulture. That's also not a thing. Who's been waiting for the card to make your Vulture 30 million power? No one. So another bad point about Hercules is I don't understand why he exists. I don't get it. And then the last thing, which is the most atrocious, I'm confused. 6k tokens for this card? What? Why is this thing 6k tokens? Thanos is 6k tokens. A High Evo is 6k tokens. Dude, I don't... That's a lot of tokens. Alright, calm down. We're good, bring it in. Let's move on to a potential deck list. Okay, and now as far as the deck list goes, this is a deck, the more I think about it, this is actually kind of cute, but that's not really that's not thanks to Hercules, it's thanks to Kingpin and the rework he's getting. Keep in mind, he is a 2/3 that afflicts cards with -2 power, not a 3/4 as he is on screen here. So the reason Hercules might be decent here, when you knock something out of a lane and you want to put it into the Kraven or Kingpin lane, if it doesn't go in those lanes, Hercules can then give you another shot at putting it back into that lane. So for example, you have Kingpin in one lane, let's just say Kingpin in the left lane, Hercules in the middle lane, and the right lane is the lane you're doing all your Stegron, Spider-Man, Juggernaut 2 sort of stuff and bopping things out. If they don't land in the Kingpin lane, they will land in the Hercules lane and then hopefully remove over to the lane where Kingpin is in. Effectively, Hercules with Kraven and Kingpin changes your odds of Hercules moving stuff to the lane you want by 50% to 75% because it's 2 coin flips instead of just the 1 coin flip. I hope that made sense. Recommendations on if you should spend resources on Hercules. Do I need to say anything here? Well, the other 2 cards here in the Spotlight caches are Howard the Duck and Werewolf by Night. Howard the Duck is a bad card. I don't care what you say. It's a bad card. You can't convince me otherwise. The information he gives you is not worth running a 2 power card that doesn't really do anything to the game. Werewolf by Night was also recently changed. It's not a bad card now. It's actually okay, especially with Zabu, but it's nothing to get super excited over. If you don't have Werewolf by Night now, you don't need him really to be competitive. If you don't have Howard the Duck, you really don't need him because it's a worthless card. So as far as Spotlight caches go, why? No, maybe if you don't have any of these 3 cards and you're rich, go for it. Now, as far as tokens go, well, you might as well just get your debit card, head to an ATM, pull out $100, and then rip it up, because that's what you're doing if you buy Hercules with collector's tokens. You're burning money. So yeah, that's the gist of Hercules there. Final summary, if you don't want to watch the entire video and just want to skip to the end, Hercules is probably a very bad card that might be okay in one specific deck, and if you spend 6k tokens on this card, you're out of your damn mind, and absolutely don't waste Spotlight keys on the card either. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section below, but that's it for this video. Later on, nerds.
Why?